fill a lot of time with just two of us.
I'll mention in the Twitch chat that people can hop in. Actually, what I want. Oh, actually, I won't say that on the air. That's secret knowledge, so I won't say that. Forget I brought it in. Nothing. You know nothing. I'm gonna click the button that says I've been subbed for 6 months. Okay. Let's see. Show my 1 month streak. I've had more than 1 month. It just says I've subbed for 6 months.
Are we live?
We are.
Okay.
We should be. I think I clicked the button. Yep. It says restream.
Okay.
I gave myself the notch. Feels good. There's no one in the chat yet.
Well, that's not going to do.
Yeah. There's Diablo, of course. He's there.
He never leaves, though.
No, he doesn't. I went to Twitter to make sure we were streaming, and I get a retweet from one of my friends from Cheap Ass Gamer, which is a account that posts game deals, and they said That's So Raven 2 Supernatural Style for the Game Boy Advance is just $15 at Walmart. That's a steal. I'll buy that after the show. Hi, Killbot.
Okay, well, we might as well get going here, and hopefully more people will show up.
Probably.
Otherwise, it's going to be a quick show. We're just going to list the headlines and leave. Hey, welcome to the Android Police podcast. I'm Ryan Whitwam.
And I'm Corbin Davenport.
And that's it. There are only two of us this week. We have people on vacation and traveling and snowed in and presumably alive, but incommunicado. I don't know. They're just all sorts of things going on. So it's only two of us. So we're going to enlist the help of, I hope, everybody listening right now live. So, if you're in the chat room, you have questions throughout the show, we will attempt to keep an eye out for that. And, hopefully you have questions. Otherwise, this is going to be pretty quick. We have a lot of things to talk about, but there are only the two of us, and we only have so many opinions. So let's start by talking about yet another foldable phone, the Huawei Mate X.
Yes. So this is kind of the other. I got to paste the link in the Twitch chat. That's what Cody does. There we go.
I mean, I think people can probably figure this stuff out.
Well, people can look at the picture while we're talking. But this is sort of the other approach to foldable phones. So the Galaxy Fold that was announced last week it has a screen on the front, and then you open it like a book, and on the inside is the large panel. But Huawei's foldable phone is just one giant screen that wraps around the phone, and you just sort of unfold it, and you get the big screen. So it's a little bit of a different approach, and I think, isn't that prone to creases? Is that what I saw?
I think this phone is going to look like garbage after about a week. So, I mean, I've seen pictures of this thing from an angle, and it looks like an old DVD case or something. It's all like wavy and strange looking, and the spine is super visible. I mean, I think it looks really cool in demos when it's like on and like you're looking straight at it. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's actually going to look great in real life after you've been using it for a while. And they do want a lot of money for it. It's like $2,600. It's even more expensive than the Samsung phone.
Yep, it's 2,300 euros, which is
about $2,600. And
that's a lot of money.
Just, I mean, I like the, like if it weren't for materials being the way they are, I would prefer this approach.
Yeah.
But like the screen is plastic. There is no flexible glass available at this time. So it's going to scratch and look bad, and there's nothing that's going to stop that. And I don't know. I don't really want to buy a $2,600 phone that's going to become a scratched up mess. Like, I mean, you're going to how you set this phone down, and it's like the plastic screen is going to be touching things. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like the existence of the Galaxy Fold and the Mate X, and like what they feel like they need to charge for them, and the trade-offs that you need to make if you want a foldable phone, says to me that this technology is not even remotely ready for a consumer device. And these companies are they're desperate to like get us all hooked on the next big thing to sell more phones, because phone sales are leveling off. People have a lot of phones. So they're like, here, what if we just made your phone fold and it was kind of bad? Do you want to buy this? Also, it costs a lot of money to make, so give us more dollars. It's just kind of a crazy approach, because these are basically more than twice as expensive as a regular flagship phone right now. It's not unusual for a new piece of technology to cost more. You know, the materials and the engineering of like a new concept will inevitably cost more. Like when Samsung released the Note Edge alongside the Note 4, it was like 20% more expensive. And when Apple did the iPhone 10, it was like 30% more than the iPhone 8. But this is more than twice as much. It's just this technology is it's a tech demo still. It's not something that anybody should realistically want to buy.
Yes, it still looks cool. And also, Killbot said, "How well will screen protectors work with it?"
Probably not at all.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it'd be really funny is if the screen protector was in two parts and it didn't cover the fold.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's going to sell a screen protector kit like that for like the two halves of the foldable phone. This is just one of many
so
problems.
bad.
Yeah, it's just they're so dumb, and I don't want these to exist. Honestly, the only foldable phone that I think actually looks kind of fun is that crazy like concept for the Moto phone that we've seen, which I believe is going to exist. I think they're going to actually make that thing. I think that looks rad just because it's weird.
The Razor one?
Yeah, the Razor one.
Okay.
Yeah. Because like it doesn't have as many of these issues, and it looks like a Razor, and that's just really fun. And I don't care that it'll be bad, because it's just going to look awesome and ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that would be really fun executed correctly, but I don't think Lenovo is going to do it well.
Yeah, the only thing I think that makes that phone like borderline viable is that it's not like a giant thing when you open it. It's not like a tablet, and Android has all kinds of issues with tablets. It's just going to be like a regular phone. It's like a regular phone with like a little external screen, which, you know, they're going to do some gimmicky stuff with and whatever. But who knows? I mean, that might still be like garbage, because the screen might just break or something, or have an ugly crease in it. I don't know.
Yeah. It'll probably have to be very thick, I imagine, because the batteries in phones already only really make for one day, so they'd have to put a bigger battery in the two halves.
Yeah, so like the design trade-offs with foldable phones right now are really just suspect, because you look at the Galaxy Fold. It's like Samsung won't say how thick it is, but people have estimated it's like 15 to 17 millimeters thick, which is ridiculous. And the battery capacity is not huge. It's only it's like 4,500, I think. It's not that much larger than like a Note 9. You know, it's not what you would expect for basically taping two phones together.
And it's powering a tablet-sized screen.
Yeah, it's yeah. I feel like the technology is not there.
Yeah. I do still want one, but I don't have $2,500 to blow on a phone, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, I would never buy one of these. If Huawei wants to send me one, I promise to give it a fair shake.
Maybe this will be like the ZTE phone with two screens, where in a year it shows up on eBay for like $400.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Once everyone returns them.
Okay, let's talk about another phone with weird screen stuff. So Sony has made the Xperia 10 and 10 Plus official, and these phones have got also the Xperia 1, which is Is that a Go phone, or was that just no? It's just a bad phone. Okay,
It's
so
the really expensive one, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. The One is the new flagship. I'm thinking of the Nokia One Plus or something. I don't even know. There've been so many phones. Okay, so the Xperia 10 and 10 Plus are bizarre. So they've got 21:9 screen ratios, but the screen is shifted down towards the bottom, so the top has a giant bezel, and the bottom doesn't. It's like
It
the
looks so
opposite
terrible.
It looks really bad.
Like this is just the worst design I think I've seen in a while. It does not look good. And I kind of got a little bit excited because on the first leak, I think 2 weeks ago or something like that, it sounded like Sony was going to simplify their naming scheme, but now they've just made it more complicated because the One is apparently it's the pricey one, and then there's the 10 and 10 Plus, which are like the normal flagships.
Yeah, like
so I'm once again lost.
Super budget phones or whatever. So yeah, they have Snapdragon 630 and 636, the 10 and 10 Plus respectively. I mean, they're 1080p screens. The batteries are kind of smallish. It's only like 2870 milliamp hours for the 10, which is I don't know about that. I think that they're probably totally like fine, boring, whatever phones that have an ugly screen thing going on. I don't get it. I think it looks really bad. We're gonna have a review of these phones before too long. They're supposed to be sending them soon, so we'll tell you exactly how ugly they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then then the Xperia One is what we had originally seen leaked as the XZ4. So it's just the Xperia One now, Snapdragon 855. It also has a 21:9 screen, but it is a 4K OLED, which is just silly.
Sony's been riding this 4K display train for a while.
It only has a 3300 milliamp hour battery. For a 4K OLED, this phone is going to last 20 minutes on a charge.
Well, isn't it? It must still be like the older Sony phones where it only flips on the 4K when you have like the photo app open.
So Sony's other phones, so it would do 4K for a number of things, like all of the built-in apps would render in 4K. But so this is with the rendering is a lot of the power component, but also just like powering that many pixels. It's still, especially with an LCD, was probably worse even.
Yeah.
But maybe this one, I don't know, maybe this won't be that bad. But it is a giant OLED, regardless, 6.5 inches. So I don't know. I think that if you're gonna like put a 4K screen on a phone, you want people to be able to use the 4K. I don't know if they fixed the problem where the UI was only rendering in 1080p on the older phones, because you couldn't use you couldn't even play back YouTube higher than 1080p on those phones because it didn't recognize having more resolution. I don't know if they fixed that. I don't recall. I think I might have to go back and look at the last Sony phone review I did. That thing had a 4K LCD. I don't remember what the situation was with that. But 4K on a phone is pointless. You cannot discern that many pixels like from any usable distance. It's just not a good use of resources. Hopefully, it won't be as stupid heavy as the old Sony 4K phones, where those LCD panels were really heavy.
Yeah, I'm looking at, and because this is Sony, it's going to be absurdly priced in the US, like always. Like the Xperia 10 Plus is a Snapdragon 636 phone. I bet they're gonna ask like $600-700 for that.
Yeah, I thought we knew the pricing. Did we? Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, okay. So yeah, $350 for the 10 and $430 for the 10 Plus. Those are strange numbers. Maybe those might be translated from euros or something.
Yeah, it's. I feel like it's gonna be a lot more expensive.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, $430 for the 10 Plus is not bad if you don't.
No, if that's accurate, yeah, that's actually pretty good.
Although, wait, hold on. So it's okay. So yeah, the 10 only has 3 gigs of RAM. The 10 Plus is 4 gigs. I don't think people should be buying Android phones that have less than 4 gigs of RAM right now, unless you're buying a super cheap budget phone. Okay.
Yeah.
Does anybody in the chat room have a, I don't know, question, comment, concern about the show thus far? Because it's only the two of us, and the audience can collectively be a third voice if they would like to be.
We'll throw the Hangouts link in the Twitch chat here pretty soon. Anyone can hop on if they want.
we used to do that, and some weird things happened. Okay, so
I can't imagine doing that on Twitch. I feel like that'd be worse than YouTube.
we were only YouTube back in the day. Okay, so we're gonna get to the HTC thing. That's coming.
Yes, we are.
That is a thing. Okay. In the meantime, though, I would just like to remind everybody that if you're not watching us on Twitch, you can be, because we stream the show live every week on Twitch, and that is the chat that we interact with. So if you want to talk to us, that's where you should go. And while you are there, you should consider subscribing to Android Police. That's twitch.tv/Android Police. And I don't mean just like, I don't know, like subscribing to be notified when the show exists, but you can actually activate a premium subscription, which is free for you if you have an Amazon Prime subscription. You get a free Twitch Prime subscription every month. It doesn't cost you anything extra. Amazon basically gives us money, and that helps us keep doing the show. So it's super easy to do. You just have to connect your Amazon account. We have instructions on the page about how to do that, and then you can have the gratification of knowing that you're helping make this show possible. Because if we don't get paid to do this, we're not doing it. Like, screw that, guys. We don't enjoy interacting with you that much.
No.
But added bonus: if you subscribe during the show while we're live, you will actually see a Pixel 3 XL notch appear on the screen with your name in it, which is pretty great. And also, if we see in the podcast chat you subscribe, we will compliment your handsomeness and or intelligence, whichever you would like. So do that at twitch.tv/Android Police. And also, if you are subscribed already, check and make sure it hasn't expired. You have to do it every 30 days. So do that. Oh, and you get the Rhine emoji if you subscribe, which is pretty great. He's not here. He's not here right now, but it's his face laughing really aggressively. Also, thanks to Poison Rock for subscribing. He is a very handsome fellow.
Yes.
All right. Now we will
continue we don't know
with the show.
Yes.
So, the G8, the V50, the G8s. LG has new phones.
Yes, LG has 3 new phones, which is weird because yes, they have 2. Well, it's really more like one with 2 I can't talk today. 2 slightly different versions. So, in the past couple of years, we've kind of seen the V series slowly merge into what the G8 or the G phone is for every year, and now that's kind of come to a larger point. I can't talk today. I don't know what it is, but there are. So wow, I'm just having like a seizure in real time here.
I'll just start talking, and when you feel able, you can just jump. You just jump right back in.
I know.
So these phones are pretty similar this year. This is the first time that the G series phone has been an OLED, I think. So it's a 6.1 inch OLED, and then the V50, which they usually announce the V phones in the fall, but the V50 is also OLED. It's 6.4 inches, so it's a little bit bigger. They're both Snapdragon 855. I think the battery is slightly bigger in the V50. I think it's 4,000 versus 3,500. But they're just very similar phones. They both have a notch, the sort of the same kind of notch that they had last year. It has the same processor, same RAM, same storage. The only difference between the V50 and the G8 is that the V50 has 5G, which is what we're all super pumped about these days. So it's unclear to me if the V50 will only be available like as a 5G phone, or what the deal is with that.
I think it is because so we already know what carriers are going to sell which phones. If I remember right, AT&T and T-Mobile said they're selling the G8, but they're not selling the V50.
Yeah,
and
I think
it's Verizon and Sprint that's selling the V50.
So yeah, and so yeah, Verizon and Sprint are doing the V50 specifically because it will do 5G. I think the only 5G phone that T-Mobile has said that they will carry is the 5G version of the Galaxy S10, which isn't coming until like later in the summer anyway, because it's going to start as a Verizon exclusive. But yeah, so like I don't know if there's going to be a non-5G V50, and if not, then I think that would probably indicate that LG is like they're pulling back because maybe things aren't going so well. But so the G8 is kind of is there's a lot less of like a feature gap between the G8 and the V series this year. The G8 also has something that I think is fundamentally ridiculous and indicates that LG is very, very, very confused about what people want from a smartphone. So it has this front-facing, it's like an IR camera, or so it's like it's a time of flight sensor, I guess. They call it the Z camera.
Yeah.
And it has like hand gestures. It's so weird.
It has, and it's not even hand gestures. It's you put the phone on the table and then you make little hand movements from like 6 inches up, and it looks very. I saw Michael Fisher's video about it. He did a good demonstration where it's very strange. It's like you're casting a spell on your phone.
Yeah,
and it doesn't really work.
So awkward because every time I've seen somebody do it, it's like they like. You reach out and you like grab a virtual like knob, but half the time the phone doesn't even recognize that you've grabbed it. So you have to try a couple of times, and it's like you're massaging the air to try to get the phone to recognize what's happening, and it just looks so not like something I want to do. So like you can change the volume, or you can navigate, like forward and back in the browser. You can take a screenshot, like you do like this, like you do like a talking. gesture with your hand to take a screenshot, like that's kind of fun and ridiculous tech demo if you want to do that, LG. But to put this in a phone you're going to sell to people is just not a good idea. And so they're actually doing this. Also, you can unlock the phone with your hand.
Wow!
Like it recognizes the pattern of veins in your hand. But when I've seen people do this, it doesn't even work. It looks
you have to. Well, you have to hold again. You have to hold your hand like pretty far.
Yeah, it has to be like exactly like in the right spot. And the phone has like a little like indicator to show you like how close you need to be, but your hand is right in the way of it when you're doing it because you're trying to like line it up with the phone, and it's just a very bad user experience.
The press release. I know this is from the press release, but the press release made this sound very cool, and from reading it, I was under the assumption that the camera was sort of on the back, and like as you held your phone normally, it would read the veins in your wrist, just like from the bottom of the phone. But nope, the camera's right next to the selfie camera, so you have to hold your hand above the top of your phone for a few seconds and hope it reads your veins properly.
Yeah, there's somebody in the chat room brought up Soli, which is Google's project they announced a couple of years ago. That was doing like create virtual like buttons and sliders with radio waves, which was like, again, it's like a super cool tech demo, and that Google's never released it because I'm sure it doesn't work very well. But we just saw a couple of weeks or months back that Google got authorization from the FCC to operate Soli devices at a higher power level. So maybe they're still trying to make that a thing, but I mean, doing this with the time of flight sensor, the way LG is doing it, does not seem to work very well.
No, I do like the comment from Sean Plays Games where he said, of the Korean brands, Samsung is like Transformers and LG is GoBots. that's pretty great.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I will give LG credit. They do still have the headphone jacks on their phones, so that's nice.
They're not making a folding phone, but they are going to make a display case for the V50. So you have like a flip case for your phone, but the flip cover has another screen in it because I don't know, why not? I guess
exactly. And LG also announced a third phone or second variation of the LG G8 that will not be sold in the United States, called the G8s, and it's sort of the same thing Apple's doing with the iPhone XR. That's the cheaper one, and the Galaxy S10e, where it's the same, mostly the same specs, but it cuts just a couple of features. So it only has two. It has two cameras. It has half the storage, only has 64 gigs, and the notch on the screen is larger, which is a little bit annoying. And there's no fancy crystal sound OLED. I don't think we talked about that.
Yeah, well, they had that last year, right? Or no, wait, the screen. That's the screen thing. Yeah, there's no earpiece. The display vibrates. That's the earpiece.
That actually did seem like it worked well from what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that. I've used like concept phones in the past that do that, and that, you know, even on non-final devices that has worked well enough. So I mean, I believe that. I don't think that's like a huge selling point for me because I don't want to ever be on the phone anyway. But I don't know, maybe some people do, and I don't know if you want to use your phone like outside in wind all the time.
There you go. You have your phone.
Okay.
And while you're in the wind, you can perform hand gestures in front of it.
I'm sure that's going to be a great time.
It's very fun.
Okay. So let's move on to Nokia, which announced a phone with a vaguely unsettling camera array on the back.
Yes. So the Nokia 9 PureView, which is a little bit of a callback to the older Lumias. So this phone has 5 cameras. That's a lot of cameras, Ryan. It has 2 full color sensors and 3 monochrome. And Nokia says when you tap the shutter, all 5 of them capture the scene simultaneously and then process it together. And it makes some pretty pictures. It's hard to get a sense of how good the pictures are yet because no one's really had time with it.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this behaves in real life. From what I understand, the processing for each photo is a little bit longer than other devices, which isn't really that surprising. But so the back of this phone just looks so weird that I want to be around it for a while and see how weird it is. It's got 5 camera sensors, and then there's also a flash and a time of flight sensor back there. So they're in this like hexagonal array with one like in the middle. So it looks like a lotus pod, which I find kind of weird. But it stands out. So this is like it's a flagship phone, at least, by Nokia standards. It does not have an 855. It's Snapdragon 845, but 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage. It's 6-inch 1440p OLED. It seems like it'll be a nice phone. And it's coming out very soon. March 3rd, it is going to be available, and it'll be $100 off. So $600 instead of $700. So that's it's tempting.
It's pretty good, especially because it's supposed to get 2 years of OS updates and 3 years of security updates.
It's an Android One phone. I mean, I think for $600, you can. This is justifiable. That's $200 less than the Pixel 3, $300 less than the Galaxy S10. And so like with an 845, I feel like that's still, that's plenty fast. I mean, so the Galaxy S10 has an 855, but like Samsung phones are not fast. It's not going to matter. It just has the 855 because Samsung always gets the new processor first. Who cares? It's GSM unlocked, obviously, so no Verizon or Sprint. That's pretty common for Nokia devices.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame, but yeah, I mean, it looks like a good phone. I was slightly tempted, and then someone pointed out there's no headphone jack or micro SD or anything like that, which it stinks a little bit. The deal breaker for me is that it has the same optical fingerprint sensor as the OnePlus 6T, and I do not like it on the 6T.
I think that there's something wrong with your finger.
There's nothing wrong with my. Okay, I liked on my 5T where not only was the fingerprint sensor instant, but I didn't have to think about where to put my finger.
like this,
It
the
just,
6T like has a thing on the screen. It showed you. It's got a little,
yes,
a little
but there's
finger.
no ridges, or like I can't feel it
How are
out.
you? What do you like? When are you unlocking the screen when you're not looking at the screen? Why are you unlocking your phone if you're not looking at it, Corbin?
Well, when I used to have my 5T, as I was getting it out of my pocket, I'd put my finger where the thing was, and so by the time it came to my face, it was unlocked. But I can't do that anymore. I'm wasting precious microseconds
I feel like
with this phone.
I feel like you're wrong. You and David just have like defective fingers, I guess, because the sensor on the 60 has been fine for me. It is very
Well, I
nearly
don't.
as fast as the old rear-facing sensor.
It's as fast if I put my finger in the right place, but the problem is that like I have to. It seems a little bit more sensitive than the 5T sensor. I
Yeah, I
don't
mean
know whose fault is that.
you can't mash your finger on there, you know.
No.
You just gently tap in the right area.
Yes, that's not a euphemism. So moving on, we already shill. We don't need to shill again. Oh, that wasn't even
That
next.
wasn't that's
Okay,
that's not
that's fine.
you did this. You made this.
I know. I know.
These are
The
your notes.
Yeah, the next one in the notes is about HTC's big Mobile World Congress announcement, and then I typed out wet fart sounds because that's about the impact this had.
Yeah. I mean, HTC made a hotspot. It's a 5G hotspot. That's what it is. Or if you're excited about 5G hotspots, then this is gonna be cool for you. And if not, then like, who cares?
So, in case you needed more evidence that HTC is not long for this world, they didn't announce a new phone or anything at Mobile World Congress. They just announced a tablet-looking thing that you place in your home, and it gives you the 5Gs to anything you want.
So I feel like HTC probably made this because they expect that they will partner with some carrier, and the carrier will buy X units, and they will make X number of dollars on it. They won't lose money on this like they probably lose money on every phone they make. But this thing just looks like it's going to be. I don't think they listed a price, but it's going to be real expensive. Because this thing, it's basically an Android tablet that doesn't move.
Yeah, it has a Snapdragon 855.
Yeah, it has an 855 and the X50 modem because that's the only way you can do 5G right now. So it's basically a high-end smartphone, but like it doesn't fit in your pocket. It just sits someplace and delivers 5G to other devices. And also, like, I feel like like a 5G hub, like a hotspot, needs to at least be nominally portable to make any kind of sense. But this thing is shaped like a smart display. Like you would just set it on the shelf in your house, but you won't get a 5G signal in your house. That's not that's not going to be a thing because it's millimeter wave.
Yeah, that's exactly how they showed it in the press release. They had a nice little picture of someone setting it in the middle of their living room, and their TV and everything.
That's like, I hope you have an indoor 5G network in your house, dude. Otherwise, that thing is not going to work.
That's the other device that Sprint will sell you, is the little 5G tower to go with your 5G hotspot.
Yeah. Someone asked if this is basically a Qualcomm reference design. Probably. It's probably just built on like the reference board, just like that. Is that a Netgear thing that AT&T had?
Yeah, the Netgear X something.
Yeah, I mean it's probably just the reference platform wrapped in a different case and like with a screen. Although I mean I think this does run like full Android, right? Yeah, it runs Android 9.
They said Android Pie, but they didn't clarify anywhere if the Play Store was on it or anything else. So I don't know what you could actually do with it without having to hack it. And also the press release for this was especially funny for two reasons. The first was that they talked about like connecting everything in your house to this to get to use the 5G, or small businesses using this like on the go, but it's limited to 20 devices, which isn't even enough, I feel like, for most homes. Like when you count like all your phones and your
look, if I'm gonna use like 5G as my home internet, I'm not gonna use a hotspot for that. I want like just a modem that will plug into a real router.
Yeah,
on
well,
it.
it does have an Ethernet port on the
But
back.
do we
So
know if that actually does that?
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like that might just be to like wire in a device like a laptop or something. I don't even know.
Yeah,
Who knows? But like,
they didn't say, and they also tried to do this weird thing where I actually quoted this because I laughed at it while I was writing this at 11 o'clock at night. They said the 5G hub is, quote, at the forefront of cloud-based virtual reality technology because users will be able to stream VR content from the cloud to a Vive-focused headset.
yeah. So
And
that's one of those things that's always in like the PowerPoint deck for 5G stuff, where people are trying to make the argument that this is going to change everything. But like the existing internet stuff is pretty fast. You don't need like multiple gigabits to stream VR content. Like,
well, what's so funny about that is that the Vive Focus is one of those. It's a self-contained VR headset that runs like its own OS and everything, and it connects to Wi-Fi. So it would connect to this Wi-Fi in the same exact way it would connect to any other Wi-Fi. So I thought it was really fun that was a selling point, was that it could do the thing that anything connected to Wi-Fi could do.
yeah.
But they did say that in the US, this will be sold exclusively by Sprint. So I don't know how good Sprint's 5G network is going to be, but we'll find out. And also this will be sold by Telstra, 3 in the UK, Dutch Telecom, Sunrise in Switzerland, and Elisa in Finland. So you'll be able to, I know everyone's rushing and gonna stand outside their carrier store for the midnight release of the HTC 5G hub.
Yeah,
very exciting.
Another terrible thing is Nubia's watch phone wrist thingy. The Nubia Alpha, is that what it is? Yeah. This is this is just an ugly, disgusting piece of technology that
this is a lot to take in.
I am unhappy to even be looking at right now in pictures.
Here's the thing. I thought this was neat until I realized that it's just a watch. Like, they make a big deal about it being a fully connected phone, but it has a watch processor, and it doesn't look like it has full Android. It just has
it's a Snapdragon 2100, and it does not. It has a non-standard, some like other weirdo OS, and it looks. I just think it looks ugly. It looks so gigantic. I mean, the idea of having like an OLED like that wraps around your wrist is not objectively bad, but the design of this is bad. It is very, very bad. It is possibly one of the ugliest pieces of technology I've ever seen in my life.
And you just saw the Sony phone from earlier, so that's saying something.
That's like kind of ugly for a phone. This is just like gross. This looks like in the 80s, somebody imagined what like future technology would look like, and they imagined this big bulky thing with a screen that wraps around, but like the middle of it is just fat and thick and ugly, and it has cameras pointing at you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Dash Dot, for subscribing on Twitch. It's very kind of you. I was about to say, this actually reminds me a lot of that magazine bite cover that everyone likes to share with the little watch that you put the tiny floppy disks into. Have you seen that?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
That sounds pretty great though.
It looks a lot like that. It's gigantic. And also I love everyone should go click the link either in the show notes or in the Twitch chat if you're live, and go watch the second video on the post, because it looks like an Indiegogo pitch video. And I love the thumbnail that's cut from like the middle of the video where it says, "Is hyperdimensional interaction possible?" I love that.
Okay. I just looked up the Byte Watch thing. I have seen that before. That is pretty great.
It does look a lot like it.
I love that it has a tiny microscopic keyboard for ants.
Yes.
That's great. Yeah, so this Nubia thing, they want like a lot of money for it too. $510 for the Bluetooth version. And again, this has a Wear 2100. This is a watch, and it's going to be a bad watch. It's
a gigantic watch with a very thin screen.
Look, I'm trying to review Nubia's gaming phone, the Red Magic Mars. I say trying because it's just so frustrating to use, and this thing has Android, like pretty clean Android, but there are just so many bugs and just weird, stupid things. I can't imagine how many mistakes they would make if they were actually designing an OS.
No, this I'm interested in maybe the third generation of this.
There's not going to be
like I feel like I might I like this idea, but it's gigantic. And
I agree. I like this idea if it looked completely different, was designed by a different company, had different hardware and different software. If this was completely different except for the very basic idea, I'm totally behind it. Otherwise,
I think the only company right now that could pull this off is Apple, because they're the only ones that can make watch processors that aren't dumpster fires.
I mean, look, the 3100 isn't a dumpster fire. It's less of a fire than the 2100. It's like a smaller fire.
Well, right now it's exactly a 2100 because Qualcomm hasn't added any of the power saving things to Android yet. So it's pretty much just a 2100 right now. So yeah, it's a little bit disappointing, but yeah. And also the tagline someone pointed out is "Flex Your Life," which that's good. I love this.
Okay. All right. Let's continue. Let's continue on. We're just going to remind people to subscribe to the podcast. We don't need to do the whole shilling thing again. We're just going to throw that out there. Twitch.tv/Android Police. It's free if you have Amazon Prime to give us money. So do that. Energizer has a phone, sort of. Not Energizer. Like, this is some company that's licensing Energizer's name, obviously. But it says Energizer, and there's a gigantic battery inside.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Nerd Metal Chick, for subscribing on Twitch. It's very kind of you. But yes, I encourage everyone to look at the picture in the show notes or the Twitch chat, because it's like someone just stretched out the image in Photoshop of the Energizer.
Yeah, I like how all of the stuff, like the buttons and the cords and everything, are like at the way one end of the phone. Yeah. Where like there's obviously like all the phone parts are in this part of the device, and then there's the giant battery section.
Yes.
And this phone looks like a big power bank with a phone on one side.
It is a power bank with a phone on it. It has a 18,000 milliamp battery.
Yeah, I'm trying to get us a review unit of this because I don't know. I just think it's really funny. I'm sure that it's terrible, and you would not want to actually use this because it would make your arm just fall off, like right off. But
you're gonna need a little belt holster for this phone. This won't fit in anyone's pocket.
This will pull your pants down, like your pants will fall off.
It will. This you're required to wear a belt when you have the Energizer phone.
The spec sheet does not list the weight. At least the one on our site. Does anybody else have the weight? I want to know how heavy this thing is.
It doesn't list the what?
The weight. The mass. The mass of the phone. Oh.
It's an absolute unit measurement.
Yeah, it weighs one absolute unit. Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, we don't have a weight. I'm sure it's a lot.
It is a lot of phones.
Yeah, but also I do want to point out on the front, the display covers pretty much the entire surface. It's got very nice screen to bezel ratio. So good on them.
It's not a terrible looking phone. It's just
the phone part looks fine. It's just that the battery is a thing. I wonder how fast it charges. Hopefully it has
they said right? I thought I read that in this. Oh yeah, so crap. Okay, I could have sworn I saw it charges in, I think, 12 hours is what they said.
That doesn't seem
something
very fast.
around there. No.
It's running a MediaTek processor. They might not have
Yeah.
an power control IC that can do like proper fast charging. I guess I don't know what MediaTek is doing these days. I mean, it's a Type C, so hopefully it's at least like older power delivery. Who knows? We don't know, obviously, and we're supposed to be telling people what we think and not like speculating about things we don't even
I mean,
know
I
about.
like this phone. That's what I think. Like,
I mean, I don't think I would say that I like this phone. I like that it exists because I
Yes.
want phones to get weird. But I don't think that you buy something that probably weighs 1,000 pounds to carry around all day. I mean, but if you're the type of person who like buys a phone and then gets the largest, ugliest battery case you can, then I don't know, maybe this is exactly what you want.
Yeah, it's, you know, from now on, every time someone in the comments complains about small batteries on phones, I'll just link them to this phone. Say, here you go. You don't have to complain anymore.
Yep. Okay. Google Duo on the web. This is actually kind of boring. I don't know if we need to talk about this.
Google Duo is available on the web.
That's pretty much that's the gist of it.
Yes.
Lineage drops support for Nougat devices. I don't know anything about this. Do you have something you want to say, Corbin?
I do. So Lineage OS, which is the big custom ROM, they're getting ready to release their version of Android Pie. And before they do that, they've dropped every single phone and tablet that was still on Nougat, which is very sad because 2 of my devices are no longer getting updates. I have a Mi 4C and a Galaxy Tab S 8.4. So it's very, very sad that those will no longer get updates. There's a good amount of phones and tablets on this list that kind of makes me sad that they'll never get updates. The one that was most surprising, I didn't know this, but the Motorola Photon Q, it was still supported, which was a phone released in 2012, and it has a slide-out keyboard.
Well, there's probably like 2 of those still running. One of them owned by the maintainer of that.
I could actually, here, I'll go to the stats page and just see how far down the list this is. Let's see. Okay, Lineage stats say there are 8,000 active installations of this phone. I don't think I believe that.
Yeah, that seems like a lot.
That's actually, yeah. That's very, is there like a whole subculture of people hanging on to this phone because it has a keyboard?
Is there like an international version of it that like has the same ID or anything?
Maybe. I mean, it's just a Motorola phone, so it was probably sold in other parts of the world.
I remember this phone. This is ugly as hell.
It is.
That keyboard looks so bad.
It has a little light up Tron keyboard, though. How could you not love that?
It looks really bad. Okay, well, yeah, so that's the thing. Wow, it has a Snapdragon S4 Plus. Man, those were the days.
That thing's flying.
A9. 114G band. Pretty cool. Okay, that's fun. So then the last thing that we're going to talk about is HTC. Again, we probably should have grouped these better. We should have already talked about this. But, Corbin, HTC is going to sell you a blockchain phone. They are happy to take your dirty fiat currency in exchange for this glorious blockchain phone, the Exodus 1. It'll cost you $699 in US currency, though. That is a substantial amount of money for a phone that is, quite frankly, bad. I have not used the Exodus 1, but I can tell you it's bad because it is basically a U12 Plus with a transparent back and some blockchain bullshit.
You're not holding. Do you have something else you want to say, Ryan? You feel like you've
I think Bitcoin is kind of stupid. But I also think this phone is stupid, just independent of how silly cryptocurrency is. So this phone started at $1,000 about, but you could only buy it in Bitcoin or Ethereum. I think they added Litecoin later too. And if HTC had so in October, HTC started taking orders for this in cryptocurrency. And I hope for HTC's sake that they were converting that into real money immediately after completing the sales. Because if they didn't, they have half as much money now as they had from all those sales in October, as the value of this stuff has dropped so dramatically. So, now you can buy it for regular money, which, less volatile. So I don't think you should, though, because this just seems like not a good purchase. It's still, so I mean, it's it's a 2017 flagship, or not 2018 flagship phone with some blockchain stuff. It's the U12 Plus, and I like having used the U12 Plus. I can say that I would never recommend anybody use that phone because it doesn't have buttons. It has nubs that are fake buttons. Frustrating things in the world, and I just don't trust that HTC is going to be around long enough to support the things that they're selling right now, because everything they sell is pretty bad right now.
And I just went to their website, and it still only says I can buy it with crypto, but then right below it says I can also pay with the first crypto browser, Opera.
Oh yeah, that was their other thing. Yeah, there's going to be a version of Opera that plugs into their built-in wallet things. You can pay for stuff with crypto. So 2 additional people will be paying for something with cryptocurrency. Now that's what that means. But yeah, there's still no regular money. It's still only crypto. So I the other day I pretended to buy an Exodus one on this website because I wanted to get the wallet address to see if it was just one wallet that everything was going into, so that I could see how much money HTC had lost. But no, it looks like they generate a new wallet for every transaction. So I didn't. I was not successful.
Lame. So someone asked if it has a headphone jack. I don't think it does, because the U12 I don't think had one. And I'm looking at the specs sheet, and there's no mention of a headphone jack.
Yeah, it's super interesting how there are no photos of this actual device. Even on the Exodus One website, it's they're just renders. Who I don't think I've actually seen a real picture of this phone.
No, I'm sure if you go on r/Bitcoin, maybe one person took a picture of it.
I should, yeah. I bet they're the exclusive market for this thing.
And Sean Plays Games asks, is the phone doing crypto farming on it? No, it's not. It's not mining the coin. It's just storing it. That's all. It
gives you a secure wallet on the phone, because it's really a good idea to keep all of your money on a device that can be lost or stolen so easily. I think that's definitely what everybody should do with their money. That's a great job. But you know what? I bet when HTC started developing this thing, it seemed like a great idea, because for a while their Bitcoin was worth $20,000.
Yeah, if
they
really,
man, let's make this crypto phone, and then by the time they actually finished turning the U12 Plus into this, they're like, oh, now it's not worth as much. Oh well.
Yeah, I really do think that if they release this at the beginning of 2018 or so, when everyone was still riding that Bitcoin high.
Oh yeah, they would have sold a ton of them.
This would have been hottest phone of the year.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm looking up on the interwebs pictures of this phone. It looks like I see people holding this phone. It looks like it exists. I mean, it's a thing.
It's just all conspiracy.
It looks like a transparent U12 Plus.
This is just still the funniest thing.
Yeah,
I don't know why this exists.
This is really just a sign of how troubled HTC is, that this can get from planning to release, that nobody said, hey, maybe we shouldn't waste the few resources we still have on a phone that nobody is going to buy.
Yeah, this is, I don't know. Maybe this would have been somewhat successful if they based it on an actual good phone. If this was
HTC doesn't have those. So.
It'd be really funny if they HTC found a warehouse full of M7s and they just slapped a extra chip on it for the crypto storage, and they sold that. That'd be really fun.
They could just they just hot glue something to the back.
Oh my gosh, they hot glue a little mod on the back and plug it in. On the
it's just like a little like a USB like basic key or something, just hot glued to the back. Like plug this in, it'll farm some crypto for you and store it, and then you can just like pay for things. You just have to like angle the USB cable up kind of weird because it's literally hot glued to the back of this phone.
Oh goodness, I feel like this show's been a lot of complaining though. There hasn't been a lot of like.
That's the only thing we can get through it. Really, it's just the two of us. We're running out of opinions, and we just have to like make fun of shit.
That's true. The only thing I'm actually like excited for out of this whole list of devices, I'm excited to review because it sounds like it might be really nice for pictures. But it's going to be it's up against the Pixel, which is some hard competition. But I'd like to see Nokia do well because they make good phones. So I hope the PureView does well.
I think Nokia is in a position to continue being, I think, a really good choice for budget phones and for like, sort of not quite flagship level phones. I guess, they're probably in the OnePlus space. Although OnePlus is a little bit ahead on hardware. I think OnePlus is pushing the envelope a bit more, and now they have carrier deals. So OnePlus is getting pretty sizable.
Yeah. Nokia, I think this is the first time they've sold an actual flagship phone in the US. Yeah, because they've had a couple before, but they're not.
The Sirocco, I don't think ever launched.
And then there was the Nokia 7 Plus. I think that was it. I don't think that was sold here either. We only got the 6 and the 3, I believe.
Yeah. No, we got. Yeah, I think we got mostly mid-range stuff. The 7.1 was here, and that was a little bit better. But yeah, I don't think anything with Snapdragon 8 series has been here that I'm aware of. No. So I don't know. Hopefully this phone sells well, and Nokia keeps doing that. I would like to see more. Especially as quote unquote real flagships continue to push up to $1,000 and more. I would like to see somebody selling a phone that is almost as good for $400 less. That would be nice.
Yeah, and I'll always be a fan of companies that give somewhat quick Android updates, which Nokia's doing. H&D's doing it. It's an okay job. They're still rolling out Pi to a lot of their phones, which is a little bit disappointing, but I mean it's still better than every other company, so I don't feel too bad. I also am still very excited for the Energizer phone. I want to see that in real life.
Yeah, it'll be a fun device just to see once and carry it for a few minutes just to know what it's like. All right, so I mean that's the end of our show, I think, unless people have questions or comments or concerns that they would like to raise in the chat room.
Actually, one thing we can bring up really quick is one more announcement from Mobile World Congress, where a company called Ubiquity Link talked about how they claim that they can connect regular phones to satellites for data transmission, which is fun.
Yeah, this sounds suspicious to me. And they said I think it was like very, very slow, like tiny amounts of data, like text messaging, basically.
Yeah, they said they successfully connected to a 2G satellite did 2G transmission. That's still impressive.
I guess, sort of. I don't think this is really something that needs to happen. Nobody really needs this.
That'd be cool if you're stranded on a boat or something. You can send a text when the satellite passes over you.
Stranded on a lot of boats, Corbin?
No, but I mean, other people do. So hopefully they'll have a phone that works with these satellites.
I guess.
But that's. I did like reading how they managed to do this, because they said actually, well, there's 3 major components to this. They had to obviously get the satellite in space, and they mentioned that it has to be really close to the surface as far as satellites go. It's only 300 miles above the surface. And they also mentioned that the the beam has to be, it's like 5G where it has to be pretty direct. And they actually mentioned that the part they had the most trouble with was getting the phone to connect. And it turns out that the modem connection in phones is hardwired to only connect to towers about 30 miles away as a max, because the curvature of the earth actually limits signals from going farther than that. So once they unlocked that part, it worked, which I thought was pretty funny. Yeah, this sounds cool. I don't know how practical it will be, but it sounds neat. And thank you, B Diddy, for subscribing on Twitch. It's very nice of you.
Yeah, it's good subscriptions this week, guys. You're helping us keep doing the show.
That's not sarcasm. We actually do very much appreciate it.
Yes. All right then. Well, so I think we've talked about all of the news. So next time, next show, hopefully we'll have more people around who can, talk about things more without just making fun of them.
Yeah, we don't. I don't know if we're doing the Q&A yet, because Cody's still off the grid, unfortunately. So maybe I'll just play Overwatch on the AP Twitch channel. I think I can do that. If anyone wants to watch me do that.
All right then. So anybody out there who has comments, questions, concerns, you can lodge them with the Twitch chat every week, which is where you should be talking to us. If you want, you can also send us an email that we may or may not read at podcast@androidpolice.com. And we'll see you next time.
Good night, everyone.